Hello, this is the first video. We're going to go over 3 examples. This is example 1 of confidence intervals. If you go into the shared drive, you will see in the probability and statistics drive. So you'll see confidence intervals as a folder. In the confidence intervals folder, there is the confidence interval steps. That's this one. And this will help us figure out how to do it. So we're going to just start up here in this first row and make our way through the problem. So here's my problem. And the first thing we want to do is check what type of problem is it. Step 1. What is the type of problem? Because depending on the type of problem, you're going to do some different things. So I read through the problem. It's usually the last sentence where it tells you what kind of interval to construct. A recent survey of 400 American adults who live in New Jersey reported that 36% believe traffic congestion is a serious problem. Construct a 99% confidence interval for the proportion. There's the word I was looking for. Proportion of adults that live in New Jersey who believe that traffic is a serious problem. So step 1, the type of problem will be a sample proportion. So we're going to follow along in the table where it says sample proportion. And that's over here for this particular question. Over here. All right. Next thing says determine the sample size over here. Step 2. Determine the sample size. Sample size is how many people that were in the sample. I'm going to go back to my document. Recent survey of 400 people. The sample size is small n. Just as an aside, what we're trying to do is take a survey of 400 adults that live in New Jersey and get an idea of what every adult who lives in New Jersey thinks about traffic. And based on statistics methodology, we can be 99% confident that whatever we say is true. So we found what type it was. We found the sample size. And let's see what we need to do for step 3. All right, so we're going to need a standard deviation for this sample. And to get the standard deviation, we're going to do the square root. That's over here. Notice we're in sample proportion. We're in step 3. My new standard is going to be the square root of P times Q divided by N. N is the sample size that we just found out. P is called the sample proportion. It's the number of what you're looking for over the number in total. In this case, they already did that. And then Q is 1 minus P. So in this case, if we look at the problem, we have our proportion already. So we don't have to do anything. So our proportion is 0.36. So let's get our P. It's going to be 36%. We're going to make that a decimal. Q is 1 minus P. And if I forget everything's right here, Q is 1 minus P. So that's going to be 1 minus 0.36 or 0.64. And N is 400. So I just want to find my new standard. Again, new standard is going to be the square root of 0.36 times 0.64 divided by 400. So what's the best way to do that? It would be to grab a calculator. Usually there's a little search bar. There we go. And open up my calculator on here. You can use your calculator, your phone, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to do 0.36. Don't need 2 of them. Bring my picture up there. 0.36 times 0.64 divided by 400. And I'm just going to make this, there's a square root right here. 0.024. This is your new standard deviation. Step 3. All right, what's the next step? Step 4, let me go to confidence intervals. We're going to look up the critical value. You're going to use the Z confidence interval chart. We want to know what our confidence level is. We see that in the problem, it says construct a 99%. So my Z at 99%, we're going to go into Google Classroom, into our distributions, confidence interval Z's at the bottom. So let me open up this confidence intervals. I'm looking for 99%. It's at the bottom of this chart here. Critical values level of confidence, 2.575. I see that right here. So I'm going to do 2.575. Step 4. Now step 5, we want to do what? Now let's just keep going back and forth. Calculate the margin of error. Remember, we're being down here at sample proportion. Make sure we're using the right one. It's the Z times the new standard. We calculated both of those. It's my Z, 2.575 times the new standard. We call this the margin of error. E for short. 2.575 times 0.24. And that's going to put back up. 2.575 times what do we say that was? 0.24. Don't make that mistake. I almost made it. 0.0618. And what I would tell you is to make life easier, let's round it to hundreds, which would be the 1, so that stays a 6. That was anything a 5 or above, it would go up to 0.07. We'll just keep it at 0.06. And then step 6 is your last step. You're going to calculate the confidence interval. That's your sample proportion minus the margin of error that we just calculated, and then the sample proportion plus the margin of error. So we have everything we need. Our sample proportion, we said, was this 36%. 36% that they gave us, that's our P, 0.36. And then minus what we just calculated as the margin of error, and then 0.36 plus what we just calculated as the margin of error. And that would give our confidence interval, 0.30. When you're answering, do not put any spaces, because when we're doing some of the questions, I'll put the answer in without spaces, and if you put a space, it'll mark it wrong. So just to save us the error for that, just put it in without spaces, and that would be your confidence interval for a sample proportion. You're going to notice when we do the other ones that they're very similar. Only a couple pieces are going to change. So pay attention when we do the next 2 examples as to what those pieces are. And let me see if I can figure out how to shut this off. I had problems doing that before. There it is. Stop sharing.